There is way too much fun on the Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady to mess with an intro, so let's just skip this bit and jump right in. The Virgin Voyages approach is to detox to retox, and the workout areas on the Valiant Lady are stunning. You can clip in for a fantastic spin class with the best views at sea, or if you prefer other cardio, there are lots of options, not to mention the view from the workout studio. Classes are complimentary, and I can't recommend them enough, even though I did get a pretty major injury in this class.
It was great. I actually started dancing. I do not like to dance. I don't really enjoy it.
We're the people who sit at weddings.
I'm not a very good mover. I'll be honest, my hip is bothering me right now. So yeah, I'm that old guy now. Oh yeah.
When we were coming on board, I wondered if entertainment on Virgin Voyages was going to be a little too funky. I know some people find some of the shows too edgy and not entertaining and just unsettling. This show had some weird, funky parts to it that I had seen clips of in other videos and thought, well, that's just weird for weirdness sake, and I don't think there's that much value in that. But I spoke too soon when I made that assumption. So at first you have to kind of warm up to it, but the cast knows that, and they know that they have to just entertain you. And as a dancer myself growing up, like, I know the work that they're putting in, and I'm so impressed with the choreography, and so I just kind of watched it as a dance show for the first little bit. And then they did things to make the audience basically emotionally, like, take your hands out of your pockets. They moved the stage around the space, and in doing so, we're like, you have to get out of the way, you have to go over there. And making you move from the spot that you've been standing in for however long automatically mentally is this mental shift of like, oh, things are changing. And so I think that was part of it. And they also did a bunch of dances that you'd be familiar with, starting with head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Yes.
Going on to the Macarena,
the electric slide,
the hokey pokey, and those were all in a montage to kind of get you moving. And so somewhere between the dance performance of it and the join us in dancing part of it, it became very fun. And by the end of it, the cast was really able to, like, end the show and leave, and everyone just kept dancing. So I think that's the sign of a great dance party show thing.
Yeah, but I mean, also, like, some of the solo numbers were actually, like, genuinely moving. I mean, it's just really well choreographed.
Great performers. I could see how if you weren't an artsy person or a theater person, how you'd be like, that's a little weird. I was a little bored for a couple parts. It takes real guts to sing the song from Titanic on a ship. But they do it. Yeah, the performers were fantastic. I look forward to seeing more of them all week. From one party to the next, I'm now going to the pajama party. So Nick is feeling sore from all the walking we've been doing, and I'm feeling FOMO about the pajama party, so I'm gonna go without him. He's gonna take a shower and get ready for bed, and I said I'll be back very, very quickly. I just want to see what this pajama party is all about.
I never see you happy. You always treat me badly. You say you always die, and you're mad. Why don't you get a life and leave the blame behind? And I can't be without you,
They wanna have fun. Oh, they wanna have fun.
Okay, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Are you all ready?
You're all ready? Well, let's hit it.
I stayed for about half an hour. There were some DJ songs, some good throwback tunes. drag queen song parody of Girls Just Want to Have Fun. A lot of people in cute PJs, a few people in underthings, but that's kind of the style around here. As I left, they were doing a pajama contest. It was a lot of fun for those that were wanting to stay up even later tonight, but that's not me. We just passed through the dock house, and Jen, who is the Flare in the Happenings cast on this sailing, was singing, and then the charmer, Ryan, who is her husband, was sitting in the back looking all lovey-dovey, and it was just the cutest thing. I think they've got to be newlyweds. They're so cute. But speaking of Ryan, the charmer.
So the reason we're heading to dinner early tonight, earlier than we were intending to, I'm blocking the camera, is because I can't talk about it too loudly.
It's a secret.
Hey!
Tonight, there was a magic show, and tell me how we got there.
So while you did your
bungee
jumping class, I went to watch the Charmers sort of basic set in On the Rocks.
Where the big stairway is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And at the end, after most of the audience had dispersed, I was still sitting there. I was starting to read, just to read a book. And he went around and he offered some people a special card saying, hey, come to such and such location at 8:10 p.m. tonight. So at that point we had to make some decisions because we had a dinner planned that would have not allowed us enough time to get to the show in time. So we scooted
for
dinner.
Whatever this thing was.
For whatever
we
it
didn't
was.
even know what it was.
We didn't know what it was. So we scooted dinner earlier. We let our server know that we needed to get everything complete by 8 p.m. so that we could leave. That's all I'm going to tell you, but it was really cool. So the one thing that some other random passenger said as he was handing the cards out is, if anybody in the Happenings cast asks you to do something, do it. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. So there are like little secret hidden by invitation only shows, and this was kind of the Charmers. He's the magician in the Happenings cast. This was his little secret show. And it wasn't huge because it's in a secret venue. They have to lead you to it behind closed doors. They take you through some crew areas to get to it. And it was really cool to go into a special space. They took our phones and put them in bags and locked them closed so that we couldn't take video if we wanted to. But I did get a selfie with Ryan on the way out, and it was a really fun experience. There was, I think I counted about 40 chairs.
Yeah.
And it feels smaller than that even.
Like even the first show that I saw On the Rocks, where the main center area, I was like, okay, I can figure out how most of those tricks are being done.
I mean, he's good. He's good. He's a good magician.
The show we went to,
the secret show,
there were genuinely things on there that I have no idea how they were done at all.
But they were also really secretive about what it even was. And so there were people showing up that thought they were coming to a party. They thought, is this some secret bunker? Are we going to the bow of the ship? Are we going to a hidden bar?
And there was a bar, actually.
There was a bar. But we're not going to spoil anything. Just if someone hands you a card or invites you to a secret show, go.
Yeah.
Okay? So this show is loosely based on Romeo and Juliet, And I say loosely, but they actually take lines from the play for a couple of parts, so you kind of know where they're at in the story, and overlap that with a bunch of kind of circus, like Cirque du Soleil kind of acts. You've got trapeze and
Juggling.
springboards and hanging from not
silks, but
chains. And pole work and a trapeze. Did I say trapeze already?
I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Very cool. Hula hooper and what's the thing called with the strings and that guy. That guy that I'm gonna insert right here. They were all very skilled. They're very good. I was amazed that it wasn't the same cast as last night's show.
Completely different.
2 full casts. That's a lot of performers on stage, and that's not including the Happenings cast, who's doing some of the other shows. So far, I've found the shows really entertaining, really different from things I typically see on a ship, and the cast has been really stellar. When you're ready for a little downtime, head to the Social Club with a full arcade and great table games like foosball and air hockey. But what makes this arcade different from other cruise lines? All the games are free. You can find all your favorites from the good old days. After grabbing a drink, go ahead and pair off for some foosball or air hockey and let that competitive side shine through. They also have loads of board games and jigsaw puzzles, including some of my favorites from my childhood. Find a table and take the chance to reconnect. These are not the world's largest robes. They crisscross just fine on me, but just be aware if you're much wider than me, they may not quite close in the middle. Heated loungers, which are one of my favorite places. Not loungers so much as like just flat surface. There is a like steam room, a wet sauna, and a salt room, which is so good for detox. And over here is the mud room, and you get mud from reception toward the end of your stay. So one of the last things you do is a detoxifying mud treatment. Let's go enjoy. Marble slabs and just melt away all the tension. Salt. We can kind of taste it. Is it cold? That's it. Nick just asked me if there's gluten in the mud mask. Don't eat the mud mask. How was your thermal spa experience?
My hair should answer that question.
I think you enjoyed it.
Epic muddy hair. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was $59 for each of us for a 3-hour window, and there are multiple 3-hour windows through the day. I will say the early part of that 3-hour window does get crowded. Like the first hour, I felt
there were a lot of people.
Felt a little crowded, and then after the first hour, it just kind of...
People kept deciding they were done and moving on, and
so the
more and more space.
Second and like even the third, I mean, we didn't even stay for the full 3 hours.
Yeah.
Once you get into the third hour, it empties out pretty
I'll be
rapidly.
honest, being in the habit of going to the rainforest room on DCL, you're used to having like a full day pass or even a full cruise pass where you can just come and go at will. And I was a little bit like, what do you mean 3 hours? I have to like leave? That was enough time.
As opposed to the rainforest room on the classic DCL ships, on the Magic and the Wonder, which to me feel very relaxing. Like you go there to go get into a zen, quiet, dark place. This
not
is
dark emotionally.
not dark
just,
emotionally.
Just the lights are dim.
You do you. But here,
it's Disney.
Here, it's much more active. And even like you might say, well, the rainforest room on like the Dream or the Fantasy has some activity to it. This is even more movement than that. We did everything.
We did, but you have to kind of actively move from place to place.
You did not do the cold plunge.
I did it because I'm a chicken. Walk, walk.
It's one of those, ooh, crazy times. I always think it's important to acknowledge the elephants in the room. Shout quietly!
I just got back from the Misbehave show, and this is like a game show. It was so much fun and so interactive and really wild. If you've ever played The Quest on Royal Caribbean, it's kind of like where you're in teams and everyone is interacting, but this one also took the comedy to the next level. The host was fantastic. Think of kind of like Nick said she looked like Glenn Close. Are you thinking Sunset Boulevard?
Yes.
Who's just world weary and has so much sarcasm to share with us all. If you don't like language, she does use some swear words. And then she has an assistant who randomly turns into a major contortionist in the middle of the show and does a little performance. But for the most part is just dancing and being essentially her pool boy during the game show. It's really, really fun. There's so many pop culture references. There's tons of like shouting out from the crowd, and you're invited to bring your cell phones and participate with those. You're invited to, some folks come up on stage for certain parts of the competition, and it's half of the audience versus the other half of the audience, which is funny because Dual Reality last night also split the audience in two parts and pitted them against each other. And this crowd loves a good competition. And so we had a lot of fun with it. It was fun because there were a lot of music references specifically. And it seemed half the audience was a little bit younger and the other half was a little bit older. So we older crowd really appreciated some of the classics. We all ended up like singing along, wailing, you know, the verses to the songs that you know. Somehow singing along was part of the contest. And then at the very end, there was a big ball drop with mini beach balls. And it was just fun, fun, fun. Nick said this was his favorite show so far. I don't think it's exactly comparing apples to apples because we've had a dance show, a circus show, and now a game show. And they're very different kinds of shows, but super fun. Tonight apparently was Be Fancy, and we didn't realize it. A lot of the audience for Misbehave seemed dressed up for something, and I couldn't figure out what. There was a lot of like chokers and chains and tongue collars, and it looked like everyone was getting ready for some S&M, and apparently that was the dress code for We Fancy. Not what I had packed for We Fancy, because that's not in my closet. But good for them. I think they're gonna enjoy themselves. I'm sorry that I didn't get to bring you footage from that event because I was planning on going. I did have an outfit picked out and I totally thought it was a different night, so apologies. But seeing the crowd that went into the club, I thought, you know, I wouldn't have lasted very long in there. When afternoon tea doesn't work out, you take a complete 180 and come get a piercing at the tattoo shop. Squid Ink is the tattoo shop on all of the Virgin Voyages ships, and while I wasn't sure about getting inked, I did have an inkling for a new piercing.
Looks scary, but it's just iodine.
I'm never sure what my pain tolerance would be on a tattoo.
You don't have one, right?
Have you ever had a cat scratch you?
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
Okay.
It's just like constant.
My husband noticed me. Here he comes.
Very deep breath for me, please.
Thoughts? That was it? Okay.
Just gonna put the jewelry in there.
I love that was it.
After 3 kids,
Women are words.
this is nothing.
So I walked around with a broken finger for
After a
24
broken
hours
finger.
before I reported to the medical center. And they were like, so is your pain tolerance pretty good? And I was like, I don't know.
3 kids, no
I have 3
meds.
babies with no meds. So, no meds.
Girl, kudos for you.
I had 2 of them at home.
2 home.
What? Pop them out, walk around. So I could probably handle a tattoo.
Definitely.
But I have to figure out what my tattoo would be. It'd probably be something related to kids.
I love that there's a squid coming out of your head through this whole video.
While I was getting my piercing done, Nick was at the barbershop getting a haircut, but he did not get any footage. Vlogger fail. But there's a blowout bar for women and a barbershop for men on board. Nice haircut.
Thank you.
Look all spiky and youthful.
I had nothing to do with it. I just sat there. You may want to take a picture of this and show this to my friend at home.
If Nick's hairdresser could just subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Nick and I have been commenting about how some of the art on other cruise lines is a bit cheesy. I mean, especially the art in the gallery that's for sale. Not all of it, but some. No.
Cloud puppies.
We're not gonna harass the cloud puppies. They go across the Rainbow Bridge and people find that very touching. But there is no art gallery here. There's also not a bunch of, sorry cloud. There's also not a bunch of like random art on every landing of every stairwell, which initially I thought, cool, way more sleek design, way more universal, but we keep finding we are not stopping on the right floor or not going far enough, or we're in midship when we think we're in aft, and we really do use some of that art sometimes in the stairwells as a marker for where we're at, and that doesn't exist here. I also find that on some cruise lines, they give you designs in the carpet that secretly tell you how to get where you're going, like the stars point to the forward, and there's none of that secret carpet code here, so we've been getting lost a little bit. On Deck 7, there is a karaoke studio, The Groupie, where you can get a private karaoke room completely complimentary. When we stopped by, it was a bit of a self-serve situation, so we just picked a room and started singing. There's an extensive catalog to choose from, and our selections turned musical theater nerdy really quickly.
Never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon?
We need to sing with all the voices of the mountain.
Oh,
The key change.
anybody see?
I'm dead. We just decided all the best karaoke songs are also good spin class songs, and someone needs to invent karaoke spin class. Let's do it. I'm sure Peloton has invented this.
Yeah.
I hope you find someone who will have this much fun with you at karaoke. We all need a backup dancer. And if you're doing karaoke right, it's a full aerobic workout.
I know that there's a place for us. We are glorious with the softest words. Number 3. I know my sister like I know my own mind.
I play Alexander and he's Angelica. It's a special marriage. Oh, here we go. I'm passionately waiting, I'm passionately smashing every expectation, every action, act of creation. How was your karaoke experience? He lost his voice. Are you the alphabet to my Glinda? Scarlet night has begun. They turned on the lights in the hallway. The whole ship is going red. We popped a bottle from the minibar and headed out to explore what Scarlet Night looked like around the ship. There were performers and DJs, decor and photo booths, and everything was red. The hostess performed a quick show, giving us the legend of Scarlet Night about the goddess of the sea and her sailor love. Then we headed up to the pool deck, where the festivities were about to begin.
Tonight, we honor the octopus goddess as she grants us safe passage. But first, a toast to the sailors! To the sailors, baby!
The performers took to the pool with their choreography, and then they got out and invited the guests to take a turn. The morning after Scarlet Night is a late morning. We are going to brunch after 10:30. I cannot get this glitter off my eyes. And I wanted to go to the VHS workout, but it already happened. So I'm very excited to hear that there is a class to teach you boy band choreography, because every time I see the shows and the happenings cast and everybody dancing, I'm like, teach me some moves. So we're gonna go to that later. But first, not we, just me. Me and my friends here. I'm gonna take them with me. But let's go to brunch and have some pool time. It's 11 o'clock on the pool deck, and there's still some available chairs in the shade. I'm impressed. Admittedly, the Valiant Lady has a capacity of 2,700 and our ceiling was at only about 1,400, but we always found great seating around the two pools. Knowing that this ship is the same layout as the Scarlet Lady, I was a little bit nervous that if you went on a really full sailing that you wouldn't find any seating, but there are so many little hidden nooks and crannies. The more I look around, it's like, this area is completely empty, this area is completely empty. You'll definitely find stuff. The pool areas had easy access to some great food options, like the poke bowls at the Sun Club Cafe or the grab-and-go items at the galley. And as suite-level guests or rock stars, whenever we went a hot tub, we would just go to the exclusive area, Richard's Rooftop, where we could have one all to ourselves. So it's not my 80s get-up, but everybody, let's go learn some boy band choreography. I totally forget there's this other end of the ship down here. The adult playground and sports area on deck 16 is the place to be active. And just up the stairs is the Crow's Nest, where this complimentary class was led by the Happenings cast. They often hold yoga classes up here. The instructor, who admittedly wasn't even born yet during the boy band craze of the 90s, took us step by step through some familiar boy band music video choreography. And then we divided up into smaller groups and performed for each other. It was really fun. After all that dancing, I needed a little caffeination, which is perfect because it was time for our coffee tasting class. We did sign up for this class in advance and there was a fee. Led by a couple of the ship's expert baristas, we talked about the regions and types of coffee and what created different flavor profiles. Then we learned to chart what we were tasting on a flavor wheel. There were only a few couples in attendance, so it was intimate and a lot of fun. I usually enjoy alcohol tastings as well, but since I wasn't drinking as much on this trip, the coffee tasting was a perfect solution. We tried 4 of the roasts that they use on board and sent us home with a bag of Virgin Voyages exclusive blend. Plus, I got this special message for our son, Asher.
Hi, Asha. This is Asha. Bye.
He's gonna make me coffee.
I make the best coffees here.
Asher loves a latte.
Oh, wonderful.
Virgin Voyages has done a great job of curating the shops on their ships. There's Virgin merchandise, sundries, luxury items, and resort wear. I loved the somersault swimsuits and had to really stop myself from getting one. I also love their beauty items with a range of options for various budgets. It's a great place to go on a spending spree with your stateroom credit. And on the final night, we stopped by the shops where they helped us fill out the form to get our VAT refund. Once we got to the Barcelona airport to return home, a quick stop at a kiosk and that tax refund went right on our credit card. So even if you're not nightclub people, you can still come to the manor for some events. Fun!
All right, let's have a ship show!
I think the ship show is one of the hidden gems of Virgin Voyages. It's kitschy variety style show, but it comes with a great dinner and really shows off some impressive entertainers. Held in the Manor, which is the nightclub on board, they set up cafe tables and banquettes to serve a full meal. There were also a few game show moments in the evening, and I think you'll recognize this contestant.
What's your name? Nick. Lovely to meet you, Nick. 1, 2, 3, you're a filthy animal!
Hey! Octopus! Octopus!
Congratulations! Yes! What a lot of talent we've had on the stage.
Nick went early to speak with the waitstaff about our dietary restrictions since we're gluten and dairy free. We assumed since we didn't pre-order, we'd just skip the meal, which is fine because we had reservations later at the wake. But they adapted to our diet really well. I mean, look at this vegan panna cotta with chocolate mousse. And be sure to check out our food video for everything else we ate on board. Did they just do a rock cover of We're on a Boat?
Yes.
I don't know if everyone else got it, but I thought it was hilarious. Okay, so we worked out that the forward stairwell has purple stripes in the carpet and purple signage, and the mid stairwell has pink stripes in the carpet and signage, and the aft is blue. And it only took us 6 days, technically day 7 since it's after midnight right now, to work all that out. As with other cruise lines, there are many opportunities to catch live musicians at various venues around the ship. We often heard bands playing at On the Rocks, the midship cocktail bar, and one night we caught the Diva singing there.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road.
Magic time! I have always loved cruise line musicians and comedians, especially when they're a little more edgy. On our last night, Dom Chambers, an Australian magician known for his beer replicating trick, totally fit the bill with his magic show in the Manor. Definitely check out the featured entertainers on board. They are fantastic.
It's a tiny bottle! Please, bang, 1!
showmanship was really entertaining. Eating incredible food has always been a top cruise activity, and Virgin Voyages takes the cake. But there's no way we could fit it all here, so you'll just have to join us in our next video. We'll see you over there, travelers.